This morning, we are hearing for the first time from a close friend of former Miss USA. That, of course, is Cheslie Kryst. Kryst, a former attorney and entertainment correspondent, took her own life just over a week ago. It's still hard to say that. In a statement, her mother revealed that Cheslie had been dealing with high-functioning depression, which she hid from everyone. Her family says she was, quote, a ball of sunshine wrapped in smiles. Kryst's friend and publicist is LaToya Evans. She's also the family spokesperson. She joins us at the table. LaToya, it's good to see you. I was at the airport over the weekend, and there was a picture of Cheslie, and it still sort of took my breath away. You know, it's been 8 days since she left us. When was the last time you talked to her before she took her life last Sunday?
Friday.
The Friday before the Sunday?
Just 48 hours. She sounded happy as usual. Nothing was amiss. And, you know, it just, who knows the last time you're going to speak to someone.
And she had a big week coming up, right? It's not like
Absolutely.
there was, you had no indication, no inkling either. I would imagine you were as stunned as everybody else, true?
For sure. We had meetings planned for this past week. She had photo shoots, dinner with friends. So there, again, was no indication. She had a packed week. She was planning for a future. So it took us all by shock and surprise.
Her mom called it high-functioning depression. Most people aren't familiar with that term. What does that mean?
High-functioning depression is really for the overachievers. It's for the people who are celebrated just like Cheslie was, and unfortunately taking that pain and hiding it from others.
I worked with Cheslie at Extra
Yes.
for quite some time, and I tried to look back at moments, and I couldn't pinpoint anything. But then I started thinking about how much she was on.
Yes.
She never dimmed. Like, her light was always on. And then I started to think maybe there was too much pressure for her to always feel like she had to be on for everybody else, which she did. When she walked in the room, she lit it up.
Yes.
Are there moments when you look back and you say, maybe I can pinpoint something?
Honestly, I can't. There were no signs because Cheslie didn't show signs. She purposely concealed those because she didn't want to burden her family and her friends.
Yeah.
Just like you said, she's someone who brings joy. She brings happiness, and she did that up into her very last moments.
I mean, hindsight is always 20/20, and unfortunately, that's just the way these things work. And one of the things that people are looking at in hindsight is the Allure essay that she wrote. And I think you worked on it with her.
I did work with her on the Allure essay.
Some of the lines in it are quite haunting. She refers to a lonely craving for the next award. She makes a reference to turning 30 and running out of time. When you hear things like that, does that, in retrospect, look like not a cry for help, but a sign of some trouble?
I really think it points to the high-functioning depression, especially for people who are in the limelight, who are overachievers. They crave the awards. They crave the accolades, and that's exactly what Cheslie did. And I think that essay, in hindsight, speaks to a little bit of that high-functioning depression for sure.
And then that can also push you to exhaustion because you're working so much to get the admiration from all of these different spaces and places. And she has worked herself to exhaustion. I remember her talking to me about it and giving me advice, saying, Nate, you need to slow down because I've been there.
Right.
Has she talked to you ever, did she ever talk to you about working too much?
I certainly think we've had that discussion,
Yeah.
but again, for people who are high functioning, for people who are in the limelight, for people who are hard workers, that's relatively normal.
I keep thinking about her mom and her stepfather. She comes from siblings. There were 6 siblings, and her dad. How are they doing? I know you've been in close and constant contact with the family.
Constant contact. The family is full of grief. Really, it's a shocker. So they're still processing this.
Do they have answers, do you think?
I think that, you know, in the future, they'll certainly reveal more about high-functioning depression and more about who Cheslie was when they're done with this stage of the grief process. But they are so thankful for the outpouring of love and support that people are receiving and giving. They actually are launching a website later today called rememberingcheslie.com, where they just want to collect all of those stories that we've been seeing on social media that just talk about how incredible Cheslie was. And that's
Beautiful
what's...
idea.
Yeah, there have
that's
been
what
some
people are
wonderful
going.
stories. I've got a letter from a woman who said, because of Cheslie, I was feeling very depressed. Because of her, I was thinking about taking my own life. And now, because of her, I'm now seeking help. So she is making a difference in her death.
Short time here, but
Yes.
she made an impact.
I get the impression her family just wants to grieve at this particular time and wants to be left alone.
They do, and again, they're so grateful. They're asking still for that respect for privacy while they grieve this loved one. But
We
again,
understand
so
that.
grateful.
as
Thank
we
you,
all are.
LaToya,
Thank
for coming
you.
in. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. If you or someone you know is seeking mental health resources, you can call the National Alliance on Mental Illness helpline. The number there is 1-800-950-6264. We'll put it on our website because I know it's hard to write it down while I'm talking. In a crisis, you can also text NAMI to 741-741. We'll be right back.